Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Evan playing us in. I like it. Welcome to the 4th episode of the Galloway and Isabel podcast. My name is Thomas Galloway. To my right is Evan Isabel. How are you, Evan?
I am a little tired. I just had my first week of university school at Iowa State.
That's right. But he's doing well. He's going to recover. He'll be fine. We're going. Noah Galloway, to my left. How are you?
Doing great. Started my senior year in high school on Wednesday.
Nice.
Looking forward to it being over.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Today we are going to talk about food. I have a piece of paper and it has food questions and has food theories, and we'll go through those. And before that, I have a big announcement. But before the big announcement, this podcast is brought to you by Morning Bell Coffee Roasters. Morning Bell offers a diverse and unique selection of specialty coffees and have direct personal relationships with their suppliers. A few weeks ago, I met a man and his son who accidentally bought a coffee farm in Honduras, and now he sells coffee to Morning Bell. Every morning I make a latte with my espresso machine for myself and whoever else happens to be around, and I always use Morning Bell coffee. It's always different, always interesting, and overall a great way to start the day. Visit Morning Bell at 111 Main Street in Ames, Iowa, or get their coffee at the Wheatsville Co-op or both Hy-Vee locations in Ames. If you do not live in the Ames area, no problem. You can order off their website, morningbellcoffee.com, and shipping is free anywhere in the United States if you order over 2 pounds of coffee. And whether you visit the actual location or order online, let them know we sent you. They like hearing how new customers hear about their business, and it shows them and us that this sponsorship thing actually works. So to give you, Noah's doing yoga right now. Noah, good for you. I like that, multitasking. Okay. To give you guys kind of an accurate, and any potential sponsors out there, a kind of an accurate description of how many people are listening to this, I finally found an accurate way to measure the number of listeners we have, and so far we are averaging over 350 listeners per episode, which exceeds anything we thought we could get when we first started this. We just wanted to just sort of get our thoughts out and talk about stuff.
That's really cool.
Without shirts on, but so far we're really excited about it. So when we have sponsors, there's a reason for that, and there is a reason that anybody out there who knows people who would want to be sponsors. There's actually a benefit to this. It's not just fun and games, even though it is fun.
And games.
Also, at some point with Morning Bell, we will be offering $5, $10 gift cards to listeners, and we're going to find a creative way to get those out to you guys, maybe some kind of competition or drawing or game or something like that. Maybe as a trade for any ideas or prompts that you guys have. And we're excited to get into that. Okay, so we talked about food. We're going to talk about food, but I did say I had an announcement, okay?
I'm so
excited. You guys ready for this?
What
Okay.
is it?
I found the key to happiness.
Oh no.
Yes.
That's so
Okay.
awesome, dude.
Okay, so I found the key to happiness, and at some point I'd like to we all talk about why we want to do this podcast, and I think it's going to be a little different for each of us. And what I want to go into in a second here is kind of the reason I wanted to do this podcast originally. Initially I said that mostly it was just worst case scenario that people learn about podcasts, and it was the summertime and we were bored, but really the reason was that I think about a lot of things, and I felt like the things I think about could be helpful to other people if I could find a way to articulate them and had a platform that was easily consumable to get them out there. Mm-hmm. So really it was either a podcast or write about it, and
Ooh.
That's
obvious.
Yeah.
Don't write.
Obvious choice. The problem with writing is that the main problem is that you have to do it, and then the other problem is people have to sit down and want to read it. Noah, you're still doing yoga, and I respect that. I really do.
Thank you.
And people just sit down and take their time to read it, and a podcast is much more easy to consume. Just toss your earbuds in, hit up iTunes or SoundCloud, and you're good to go. So that's why I chose that route. Back to the key to happiness. Okay. And I came up with a little, a line that kind of, that describes, encapsulates the key to happiness. And I don't know if it may not be finished, but I always kind of wanted a one line that I could always be looking at each day to make sure I was doing those things that was try to get me a certain level of happiness. So I kind of came with that line, and this is what it is. Okay. And I wrote it down. I typed it down. the key to happiness is that we grow in areas we should be growing in every day. So there's two parts of that. You grow in certain areas, but they're the areas you should be growing in.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people, myself included, like you know that growth is important. So you grow in certain areas, but they're not necessarily the area you should be growing in. So even though you feel satisfied after you like reach a certain amount of growth, it wears off. It's fleeting because it's not the actual area you should be growing in. And we do that a lot of times because it's easier to grow in a surface area than it would be to grow in an area that we should be growing in, because a lot of times the areas we should be growing in they're scary and they're uncomfortable and they're hard to do. And to give an example, like we would rather improve our diets, which is important, like that's really important, and we have all done that. But because it's easier than like repairing a relationship with somebody. So I think that's where like the distinction between just growth by itself isn't enough, I don't think, to achieve happiness.
Yeah.
It has to be an area that you should be growing in. And I don't want to go too in depth to the area, like deciding for individuals what the area should be like that. That's very personal, and this is not a personal platform. Like I would really be interested in, I think we all would be, like for people if they wanted to talk with, like I really like having that conversation individually with people, like about the areas they should be growing in, but this is not really the place. Yeah. But that's the line. We grow in the areas daily that we should be growing in.
Yeah, like so I've been working out since like junior year, and so like I haven't capped it, but there's no reason for me to like spend 5 hours a day working out when I'm a fit guy.
Right.
It'd be dumb for me to go to the gym and work out 8 hours.
Yeah.
Because I'm healthy.
Right.
So like me doing that instead of going out and learning about how I can improve the world or how like about things about my degree or anything like that, it'd be just stupid.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point, that the areas we should be growing in a lot of times won't have like a ceiling to them. So like you mentioned with working out like that, you reach a ceiling where you can only do so much, and a lot of those surface areas that we choose to grow in do have a ceiling of potential that we reach fairly quickly, and the areas that we should be growing in, the kind of lifelong growth, those are usually things that will never end, like relationships, things like that, like
knowledge.
Those are unlimited, really. Like we can get closer and closer to people. There's always something to work on and improve, and and so that's something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I'm going to keep thinking about it
Until you reach a cap.
Until you've
maxed out on your thinking. Which happens at like Friday.
Right.
At what time is it? 9:20.
It's 9:20.
Yeah,
Friday.
that's usually when I cap out on my thinking abilities, and it just goes silent in my brain.
Another thing I've been thinking about before we get to food is the difference between sympathy and compassion. So I've been thinking about sympathy as in you show someone that we talked about this a little in the personality test. How do you help someone through a situation? Do you provide emotional support, or do you offer them a practical solution? And this isn't the exact same thing, but it's similar. So I think sympathy, you show someone that you feel for their situation, you understand what they're going through. And you say, like, I feel sorry for you in your situation, or things like that. And I think that can be helpful, and people do appreciate that. Some people will hate sympathy, but some people appreciate it in the way it is. But I was thinking about compassion being kind of the next step, and that I think compassion goes beyond sympathy. Like, it helps people get through situations. So I was thinking, like, as far as what each one looks like. So sympathy looks like I feel sorry for you in your situation, and compassion looks like, well, it's fine. It happens to everybody. This is a common problem. It's a common struggle. Like, you'll get through it.
Yeah.
Like, and
that's the way to go.
Right. I think that's the way to go.
I think you're right. I think it's hard because things like anxiety and depression, it's like those things are really common if you look around.
Right.
But a lot of the time, it's like we're made to believe that those are really weird emotions, or that there's something to be looked down on.
Right.
Just by our peers, not necessarily by like teachers or anything like that, but like normalizing it gives a person the ability to reach out and ask for help and like,
Right.
be like, hey, what do I do if I'm like,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. So it's basically like if you say that you feel sorry for someone, they feel like it may be a problem individual to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They may not assume that, but you're not necessarily empowering them to get through it by just saying like, oh, this is a problem you have, I feel sorry for you.
Exactly.
But by saying this is common, it happens, just move on or
Just
get through
deal with it. Deal with it already.
Okay, so don't phrase it quite like that.
Okay, maybe there's a better way.
So just yeah, I think that's important to just not make it like it's, it just makes it feel like it's normal, and I think that's important. So that's another thing I've been going over lately.
Making people feel like it's okay to feel that, how you're feeling. It's not like you're not weird for feeling that.
Right. Yeah, and I think that gives people strength to actually get through the situation, not just feel like people are looking. It's like sympathy, you know that people are looking out for you, but compassion, when you feel compassion, you know that people are trying to actually get you through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important. The third thing that I've been thinking about recently is when you have to deliver some kind of criticism of some sort to a person. So say you're on a team and you feel like someone is doing a poor job and you need to help them. I think the only thing worse than hearing you did a poor job is that hearing that what you do doesn't matter.
Yo, my dad. No.
So,
my ears.
no one wants to hear that. So
No one wants to hear that?
Sure, I'll take it.
So when delivering criticism, I think it's important to also say, I'm telling you this because your job is crucial. Your role is crucial to this process. And if it wasn't crucial, I wouldn't be saying this. And then at least they know, neither way is going to be pleasant,
Yeah.
but at least they know that there's a reason that this person is giving me advice or giving me criticism, and it's because I matter. And that is so much more, that's so much better than hearing your job doesn't
You don't matter. That's
Yeah.
so stupid because I've worked a lot of jobs and it's like you start to realize that no matter how small you are, if you're helping out, you're helping out, and that like
Right.
even the littlest thing, just being there in the environment is beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the serious things I've been thinking about lately. And I think we're at 15 minutes. Do you guys think we could just make this a little podcast and then do a food one?
Yeah, sure.
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
Let's do that then. I think 15 minutes is like the minimum. So
Minimum for a podcast.
Yeah, podcast. And with the food stuff, we might go on too long. So we'll just cap this one right here, guys.
All right.
Okay.
We'll be back with a little more food stuff in episode 5.
Oh, dude, we just
Let's
got
go.
episode 5.
Let's go. Let's
We're
go.
like, dude, at next step, episode 100. We are so close.
Right
Yeah,
on.
we are
We'll
so
do it all in one night.
One thing I need to remember is people can't hear nods. So, like, if I'm agreeing with something you're saying, I have a tendency to nod a lot, but people can't hear my nods. So I need to say right or yes.
Or we could just
laugh. Or
we
laugh.
could have like a sensor on our head that notices when we nod, and then it plays an automatic like
Nod sound.
nod sound. Like,
Yes, okay, we'll look into that. We'll be back real quick with episode 5, and we will talk about food this time. Seriously, we will. We'll get to it.
Yep.
Okay, so for Thomas Galloway,
Evan Isabel.
Noah Galloway.
this has been the 4th episode of the Galloway and Isabel podcast. Evan, play us out.